Dogs and cats living together. Vegetarian. Wow! Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
What's up, you mutated bastards, and welcome back to the Lucid Nightmare. I'm your host as always, Jay Schatzer. And today, well, I've got a fun little 80s flick. It is Douglas Cheek's 1984 cult classic weird flick. And that is C.H.U.D, aka Cannibalistic Humanoid Underground Dwellers. Just a really weird film in general, a lot of fun to it, some great characters. So let's get into this review and let me show you just how crazy this film can be. Here is C.H.U.D. C.H.U.D, aka Cannibalistic Humanoid Underground Dwellers, is an uncontrollable early 80s horror flick with an outstanding cast of remarkably memorable characters and a seedy storyline which plunges its audience into one hell of a grungy plot. Wholly violent and loopy to say the least, the production abounds in its mysterious atmosphere and playful approach to the odd material. Whether it's the film's wild premise or expressive characters, C.H.U.D is a wonderful cult classic that certainly aims to please. The film follows a ragtag group of unlikely New York City citizen heroes, comprised of a police captain, a photographer, and a soup kitchen owner, as they stumble upon an audacious threat living in the sewers underneath the sprawling metropolis. Desperately trying to raise the alarm and compel the powers that be to take action, the trio combine forces in order to eliminate these deformed monstrosities known as C.H.U.Ds before they rise to the surface and take over the city. Will they succeed in their task in taking down the cannibalistic humanoid underground dwellers, or is the city of New York shit out of luck? As outrageous as the plot is of deformed monsters rising from the depths of the sewers to take over the world, the true gems of this unabashed cult classic is the remarkable cast that the production brings to the table. In robust fashion and remarkably earnest, the crew of this wild flick throw all of themselves into their individual roles, making for a cinematic experience that honestly lifts the film up into respectable territory. The heavy hitters of this wonderful oddity are John Hurd as George Cooper, an artsy-fartsy photographer who stumbles onto an unfathomable situation of monstrous proportions. Daniel Stern as AJ, the Reverend Shepherd, a wisecracking streetwise soup kitchen owner whose clientele begin mysteriously disappearing. Christopher Curry as Captain Bosch, the dedicated officer of the law who's compelled to get to the bottom of his wife's recent disappearance. Kim Greist as Lauren Daniels, a sexy fashion model who gets mixed up in the manic mayhem. And finally, George Martin as Wilson, a shady government man who knows more about the mysterious C.H.U.Ds than he's leading on to believe. Completely grounded yet strangely off-kilter, the cast does a proficient job in pairing up with the madness on screen, and each and every performer does a bang-up job in sparking this ridiculous film to life. When it comes to C.H.U.D, it's hard to wrap your head around the wackiness that's on screen. While being tremendously whimsical and fanciful with the bizarre material, it still manages to craft something that is grounded in some sort of real sense. The world is gritty and lived in, and the characters are fleshed out beings that all have motivations and purposes for being in the situation that they find themselves in. The effects work of the production is also very impressive, and the amount of restraint that the filmmakers have for slowly ratcheting up the reveals of these grotesque creatures is rather effective and spellbindingly impressive. As far as B-movie cult classics go, you won't find a more unusual and warped flick with as much craft and care as this one. Be it the film's penchant for gory moments or completely fleshed out characters, C.H.U.D is one impressive cinematic outing that completely compels and thoroughly entertains. In the end, C.H.U.D is a marvelously gritty and wholly engaging underground oddity. And there you have it, you freak shows. That is the insanely entertaining and surprisingly respectable C.H.U.D, Cannibalistic Humanoid Underground Dwellers. Just a gem of a flick, one that it's been a long time since I've watched this one, watched it recently, and really loved it. Had as much fun as when I first saw it all those years ago. But guys, that is it for me today. Hope you enjoyed that weird one, and I hope you like what I'm doing here. If you do, please like and subscribe. And if you have time, leave a comment below because I'd love to hear from you. But until then, I will see you all at the next movie review. Take care.